Welcome to the Below the Trees podcast. My name is Brian. I'm with my good friend and co-host
John, and I have no idea what happened to the other part of the podcast.
We have no idea what happened to the other part of the podcast. A little bit of preface before we get into the episode. We recorded for over 2 hours, as we usually do, only to learn that some of the audio did not get captured appropriately.
Is it a conspiracy?
It might be. It might be. Are they trying to shut us down?
Before we get off the ground like the plane in the background?
Anyways, this is the Below the Trees podcast, and today we don't know exactly what we're getting into, literally. And we don't know exactly what we're sharing, but fuck it, we're going to share it anyways. This is the Below the Trees podcast. Welcome. For the next couple hours, indulge us with your time. We appreciate you for being here. We're going to get into some big topics today. We're talking the imagination. But before we get into the imagination and its implications on life, society, and the future, John, how the hell are you, buddy?
Doing well, bro. What's going on?
I'm doing all right, man. I think we talked a little bit about it off camera, but I was very frustrated getting here today.
Yeah, traffic.
Traffic in Los Angeles at fucking 9 p.m. We are the city of traffic.
It's all the illegals, Brad.
And that's reason number 101. We've already been canceled before we really started taking off. No,
all jokes. These are
all jokes. All jokes for educational purposes only. So we went. I was telling you, my wife and I went to an estate sale this weekend.
Yeah.
In Beverly Hills, and it reaffirmed how much I hate the West Side. I absolutely hate it. Some cool things.
We didn't talk about that.
Okay. We touched in on the estate sales.
Yeah, we didn't talk about how much
we didn't say
the West Side.
Why I don't like the West Side.
What's the hate with the synagogues on the West Side?
Okay, I didn't say the synagogues. No, I don't hate the synagogues, just to be
jokes.
clear.
Right.
Just jokes. All in good fun. No, the West Side sucks, man.
My girlfriend's Jewish, by the way.
Oh.
Anyways.
No, so the West Side of Los Angeles, Los Angeles,
It's Los Angeles,
Los
cabrón.
Angeles, was interesting. So it makes, you have Santa Monica, Venice, then you go up all the way to like Century City, and you're in Beverly Hills and the Hollywood area, right? It's just traffic. I mean, everything's 2 lanes because it's old. It's been built out, but you have 1,000 cars on a single intersection and a bunch of fucking idiot drivers who, are driving their fucking Range Rovers and G-Wagons at ungodly speeds, cutting people off and going through.
Those are my clients.
Yeah. Going the wrong way of traffic. And you're just like...
Okay, that's one guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. In the most wholesome way. No, but it's excruciating. So we went to the estate sale in Beverly Hills. It was one of the best estate sales I think I'd have been to. It was at a mansion. Beautiful.
Wait, was it a gold G-Wagon? We're just narrowing it down now.
Well, I'm
kidding.
There was a gold one. There's also that matte black.
Pretty common.
Yeah, matte black is common, and then like a silver one.
My favorite color is the dark green. I will admit.
I think I did see a dark green one. It was it's like G-Wagons and Teslas are
galore.
It's like the natural
Mecca?
born species over there. It could be the Mecca, right? We're getting our all organic food at Erewhon, and we're driving our G-Wagons down the 10. We're going to go to the 101 and just fuck off. That's what's going on there. I probably got the freeways wrong, but don't hate me for it. West Side. No hate against the people of the West Side. It's just the West Side was so full of traffic.
Yeah.
We were in Beverly Hills.
Okay, what time and what day?
Saturday.
So, shame on you.
Expected to be busy.
Shame on
100%. There were some decisions that we made that really cost us
Yeah,
in our time.
Be a normal millennial and get with the Uber.
And get with the, or as my grandpa calls it, Hoober.
Hoover.
Grandpa, it's Uber. That's what I said, Hoober.
Uh,
Grandpa, it's Uber. Uber? Ah, God damn it, Grandpa. What about Lyft? Lyft?
oh,
Okay.
life jacket.
Life jacket.
But no, I mean, I think that's part of the problem. There's just a lot of traffic, especially at that hour,
Yeah.
leaving Beverly Hills, because that's like prime shopping hour when you want to go home now
Yeah.
before you probably head back out to like go to dinner,
Yeah.
go out to eat.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that it wasn't all bad, right? So we after the States, so went to like Beverly Hills. We're off of Beverly, near Rodeo and all that. We didn't actually go on Rodeo Drive, but we got ice cream. We walked in. Parking surprisingly was easy. Obviously, it wouldn't be the West Side or Beverly Hills if some asshole didn't cut me off in a parking and then apologize for it and laugh at me afterwards. But parking, to be fair, relatively easy.
Okay.
That wasn't an issue. But then we ended up getting ice cream there and just walking down Beverly and going to stores, just checking out the scenery because personally I've never been to Beverly Hills or spent any time there, period. So it was an experience for me, a Los Angeles County native. But I'm on the south side here of South Bay, and it's just different. This is a huge bubble. So being over there it was a little bit strange. I felt a little bit out of my element. But whatever, still had a great time. Erewhon was an experience. Have you been to Erewhon?
Sure.
Erewhon was an experience, sampling some vodka. It's good vodka. The company was interesting, though, because the company actually contributes to animals, dogs specifically. So a portion of their profits goes to local animal shelters in the area.
Okay.
And then she, very nice lady, her name was Julie. She says, I can't remember the company's name for the life of me, so I can't give a shout out to her company, but Julie really made some great vodka, and she says they have adopted, or rescued rather, animals from the fire. And so they've been taking care of those animals. And then they use some of their profits from their beverage sales to assist in those animals, which I think is pretty cool. But Erewhon was an experience. They had $50, $60 honey or whatever it was, and milk for $15.
Comes from the tit of a purple cow.
Of a purple cow. I saw a purple. Speaking of purple, I saw a purple bell pepper. I've never seen that before. Have you ever had a purple bell pepper? I have not.
Eggplant.
No, but that's the thing. It was a bell pepper, not an eggplant.
No.
It's probably going to be competing for the eggplant.
Actually, yes, I have.
Oh, okay. How was it? What was it taste like?
I think I had it. It was more of like a pickled, in a pickled form.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of olive oil and other roasted peppers around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usual stuff.
Okay. My guess is it probably doesn't taste that much different from the green bell pepper.
Shit.
It's the same thing, and it was $6.99 a pound. But whatever. Everyone, I don't shop there. I probably won't shop there. But it was nice. It was a nice store. Their little tonic bar, or whatever it was, there was a fuckload of people just in line. It looked like fucking Costco. Just like all these people standing around.
There's no $1.50 hot dog there.
They don't have a. They have a $22.50 hot dog there.
With your monkeypox. Ooh.
$22.50 hot dog, and that's the thing. They don't even give you a drink. You got to buy the $12 drink.
Free jab.
Oh, and they even had these fucking meals, like the pre-prep meals. Each
like a bento box?
Not even a bento box. It was like a small. Probably wasn't plastic. I don't think they do plastic there.
Why not?
Well, most
They're above
likely.
that.
They might be above that.
The whales, Brian. The whales.
But it was like a plastic-ish lunch thing. It had salmon and a salad. It actually To be completely fair, it looked really good.
Lunchables?
And no, it wasn't Lunchable.
Sorry.
It looked prepared. Like it looked like they actually put some care into it. But it was like $20. It was $17.50. So yeah, tax and the wasted time to get there. You're spending like $50 for, probably just marginal salmon. Sorry to the folks at Erewhon. This is no offense to you. I don't care. I don't shop there. I shop at another expensive grocery store, Sprouts.
Yeah, I like Sprouts.
Sprouts is good. But anyways, so we're leaving. We're leaving Beverly Hills. we finally make our way back to the car, and they give 2-hour free parking there in the public parking lots, which I think is totally fair. We missed it by 1 minute.
So
$3. We had to pay $3.
Oh,
but I still like $3. Not bad.
on.
So we got out of the parking lot, and we made our trek home. The GPS, and its infinite wisdom, told us 1 hour. It took us.
What do you use?
Doris, my wife, likes to use Google Maps.
Okay. What do you use?
I use Apple Maps most of the time.
I use Waze.
Yeah, I never downloaded Waze. Is it better, do you think?
Especially when I'm exploring a place that I have no business being in.
Yeah.
Usually it'll give me some cutty way to get around.
Oh, okay, well.
And it tends to work its way through.
Yeah, I mean, Google Maps and Apple Maps didn't really provide any difference in route, so maybe we got to check out Waze. But anyways, the GPS said 1 hour to our home. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's
hour and 35 minutes later.
Kind of expected. Ended up being 2 hours.
Ooh, buddy.
And here goes the thing. So what makes me more pissed? Okay, traffic.
What makes me more pissed?
Traffic, whatever. If it's just traffic for the sake of traffic because there's just way too many fucking cars on the road. Totally fine. Not fine, but acceptable. I can palate that. My palate, I can taste it a little bit better and accept it and swallow it. That hard to swallow pill. What I can't really accept is the amount of accidents. We were stuck trying to get on the freeway for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Because
of a fucking car accident. And then not only was it a car accident, there was a bus that caught on fire. And then
is this on the 405?
This is on the 405.
Is this
can you figure it out where?
Like right by the Howard Hughes area?
Damn right. That's exactly where it happened.
Because we just drove by it coming back from the Sunday League.
Oh, okay.
And like as we're jumping on the freeway, I'm like looking over and I'm like, oh, something got roasted there.
It was that fucking bus.
And I was like, and it wasn't tiny either.
Well, let me explain the scene to you.
That's
so
hilarious.
It looked like a tour bus.
Yeah.
And
ooh, I can make lots of bad, horrible jokes, but I won't.
That's a funny joke, non-joke.
Yeah, I'll just do this.
Well, so it looked like a tour bus, and probably someone had some lithium-ion batteries.
Jesus.
That's what my guess is, because the whole bottom half was just completely roasted and burned to a crisp, and then it, obviously got into the passenger compartment. I don't know if anyone got hurt, so if someone was hurt, obviously we hope you're all right.
100%, yeah.
But
this is all just
observations. But what was even more interesting is that when there's a burning bus, just maybe 10 feet in front of the burning bus, there was like 2 separate accidents not involved with the burning bus, because you just have absolute idiots. Maybe they're idiots, I don't know, maybe they're just impatient, I don't know. But if there's a burning bus, logic tells you, hey, maybe I gotta slow down and try to.
Nah, people don't care.
People fucking speed up and they crash, and it's just an absolute shit show. And that's what caused like a 20-30 minute delay just to get on the freeway.
For sure.
From that location. So, yeah, it was pretty frustrating. It took us 2 hours to get home, but It's funny though, because I was like, "Fuck, I never want to come back here again." And then we had Sunday League in Venice,
Yeah.
and of course, right on Venice and Washington Boulevard, or Lincoln and Venice, right there. Um, it was just completely jam packed because it's only 2 lanes, and then you have uh, everyone in their fucking giant cars, and everyone's cutting each other off, and it's just a shit show. But you know,
What's the reasoning for the 2 lanes all over LA, Brian?
that's a good question. I don't know. My guess is just I don't think they expected this many cars. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, of course I do.
All right, hit me. Educate me.
We're trying to make our bid for the Olympics, and so we're doing a lot of construction now to try to clean up the city, and at the same time just like make it more bike friendly. And from what I understand it, when you're making a bid for the Olympics, you have to have multiple routes for especially the bikers and the runners, right? And so we're currently doing that. We're developing multiple options.
Yeah.
Where the requirement for the race is that I think it has to be a 2 or 3 lane, thoroughfare.
Yeah.
And so we're now minimizing streets that used to be 3 lanes into 2 lanes, and allowing for a bike lane, allowing for, more of a medium.
Yeah.
For the potential of the Olympics.
I mean, I get it, but LA is a car city. There's these pushes to make it a bike city. There's these pushes to make it a commuter train city, and this is the geography, the way, the history. It just does not make sense. I think we need to, really, how do we make the system that we have? How do we make it more functional for what the culture is? Now I get they're trying to, do whatever they can for the Olympics, and that's fine. But it's like this is a car city. Like we're not New York, right? We're not London or any city in Europe. We were planned to a degree, and built around the concept of cars. Not always, and it developed into that, right? But I mean, think about the fucking freeways. Like all of those things, kind of spawned out of LA. We built around the freeways, and we built our freeways around and just on top of people's houses, right? But still, it's like it's frustrating.
Where did we get the freeways from? Do you know the history?
It was Eisenhower's administration really expanded the freeway system.
Right.
I know that they had the intent with I don't know a whole lot about the freeways, so I'm not going to pretend I do, but I know when they were building the freeways, it was thought of as a component of the war effort. So if they need to land a plane, for example, that you can land a military plane on the freeway as a runway, right?
There's a little bit that's there.
Yeah, I said,
there's just this one little more, maybe 2 little elements that you got to add to the pie.
Give me those elements, man. Peppermint for me.
So one of them being Eisenhower saw the full-fledged capability of the German Nazi army in full motion with the Autobahn.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they built the Autobahn with the intent, not for planes, but to make sure that we can have tanks, like back to back to back on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
Going. And so our freeway system is built to handle tanks. That 105 junction is built to handle tanks going back to back.
Yeah.
Towards LA.
It makes sense. I mean, I knew it was a military component.
Definitely to land.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like that's the 210.
Yeah.
Right? All the way to LA.
Yeah.
That's your emergency. Those long stretches of freeway
Yeah.
Those are your emergency landing strips when there's nowhere else to land.
Yeah.
But the structure, the capabilities comes from Germany.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Especially, with Eisenhower's experience in the war and stuff like that. But no, exciting stuff, man. It's just LA specifically is frustrating because of the traffic.
Yeah.
It took me what would normally take me about 15 minutes to get here. It took me half an hour.
But I mean, I've noticed, like, I have a client that I do have to see him regularly, and I could have left my house and got to his house in Orange County in like an hour. No problem.
Yeah.
Increasingly, within the last 4 months, I've now had to leave. It's like every week a little bit more progressively sooner.
Yeah.
Because it's taking me longer. Last time I didn't take into account this newfound phenomenon of more traffic.
More traffic.
It took me like an hour and 20. I
Jesus.
think I left here, I want to say at like 7:05.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't arrive until, 8:30, 8:45-ish.
Jesus.
When normally it's like a 55-minute drive. No problem.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, I remember 10 years ago, you could drive on the weekend. You could drive the freeways and get basically wherever you need to go. The freeways were very light traffic on the weekends, obviously, because people aren't working. But that increasingly has not been the case, and now traffic rush hour, so to speak, is every day, minus the work week.
I remember in high school, like I'm now dating myself, right? That I could get from here to your favorite area or to Malibu.
Yeah.
And it would take us like 40 minutes max.
Yeah, that's true.
Now it's like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
If we were to leave right now and try to go to a white party in Malibu.
I was wondering where I was going.
It's going to take us a while.
Yeah, I mean, maybe right now things have died down a little bit. You don't think so right now?
We're going to fucking look at it right now.
All right, let's
right
look
this
at
second.
it. I suspected probably about 40, 45 minutes. I could be wrong, though.
I know this shit has gotten out of hand. Let's go here. I'll throw in a specific address. It would take us...
Oh, we got to get the shocking truth.
Yeah, about 45 minutes.
Okay, see, I was right. After 10 o'clock, I think you're pretty good.
Past 10. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Even then.
After 10 o'clock, you're pretty much good anywhere. Or during the pandemic, you can get anywhere at any time.
Okay,
in a reasonable
so
amount of time.
folks, this podcast has now become the latest and greatest traffic hour. Don't go anywhere that you need to go until after 10. Don't listen to your parents.
Don't listen to your parents. Later, the better.
Speak to the strangers.
Speak to the strangers. The freaks do, in fact, come out at night. And they're the most interesting people to talk to. They're still freaks. Let's not get it twisted. But they're a damn good time most of the time, right?
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, that was my weekend in a nutshell. And then we had a really great baseball game today.
Great, huh?
Yeah, it was.
That's how you want to call it.
It was great. It just depends how you define great, number one, and then also depends too on Okay, we got the definition right. Definition of great, and then if we could just change the definition of great to fun, it was great.
No, we had fun for sure. I'm glad you were able to make it out.
Yeah, me too, man.
But it was pretty Pretty bad.
We were about as effective as the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight against the Padres. About as effective.
Which isn't.
Which is to say, not effective.
Yeah, we got the L.
We got a big L.
Again.
Well, I think we're 0-3 for this season.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Yeah, it's not good.
We had our fielding struggles, myself included. But then...
yeah, I fucked up too.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
I had a mental error.
I didn't get the glove down. That was
fun.
my problem.
Yeah, the ball just went...
Wow. Okay, well, that was a couple errors. That one just went over my head.
No, I'm talking about the one that just went straight down. Just...
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't get the glove down. But I will say, like I told you earlier, I hustled.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Heart Award afterward. The Hustle and Heart Award.
All right.
Even though I hustled, it was still fucking slow.
So, Pete Rose, you Mr. Hustle, but you didn't get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right, man. Do you think they'll ever reconsider Pete Rose?
Oh, yeah, right after now. Like, they're going to throw him in now that he's gone. Especially, like, we've talked about this before.
Wait a second. Pete Rose died?
Yeah.
When did he fucking die?
Last week. Like, yeah.
Oh, shit. Totally missed me on my feet. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, he's gone.
Fucking, if I was a betting man, I thought he was going to live a little bit longer.
Oh.
Wait a second.
No, he didn't. He's gone.
So he'll get in there. He won't.
Yeah, I think now.
He didn't live to see the day.
Mm.
But he'll get there.
Yeah. Because it's just so fucking hypocritical. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, now that...
DraftKings.
This episode is brought to you by DraftKings. Bet on your favorite politicians now.
Right.
I think you can, right? There's like bets again. You can bet who...
well, that's Vegas.
Oh, in Vegas?
Vegas has always had a line for politicians.
Okay.
So that's always been a fun way to look at politics and seeing, where the sentiment is.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if DraftKings and people are actually betting on the game now and
100%.
Pete Rose...
Ipe.
Please see our second episode of Below the Trees.
All about Ipe.
Man, I'm sure he's doing all right these days.
I think he's in Guantanamo.
He's still happy though. He look like a happy guy.
He's a happy guy.
He got to hang out. He can do no harm. I mean, he's not a rapist. Well, not that we know.
Allegedly.
I mean, because if you think about it, like, imagine if P. Diddy and Ipe were cellmates. I would be in fear for Ipe.
Why?
Because he's gonna get raped.
So you're on record to say that you believe that P. Diddy is into Asians? I totally thought this whole thing was about P. Diddy into other black men, but like, all right.
Hey, you know what? Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Know thy enemy.
Know thy enemy. You have to become one with the sword, you know? You got to be the sword. You got to suck on the sword.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. This one's going to get fact-checked, too. Oh, that's an interesting note. We got fact-checked on one of our shorts. You sent me that.
A few of them.
A few of them.
Yeah.
That's all right. I don't think we... And you know the frustrating part is I don't think we said anything that was super controversial at all. Okay, I mean, because here goes the thing. You and I think we have some differences in what we believe about 9/11 and the conspiracy side of things. I think you're probably pretty accurate when it comes to the finance side, and I think I'm pretty fairly accurate that I think the events of 9/11 were that. But still, like, I don't think we didn't say anything that was like wildly out of pocket.
Just the mere fact that we're talking about it is shunned.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
So it's like, if we're going to talk about events in the past, notably, we can just call it the jab.
The jab.
Yeah, because, boxers jab. And so we'll just refer to that as the jab, because otherwise, then like we're running the risk of being completely shut down, demonetized. Not like we're getting monetized, but like in the future, if that's a thing,
if we're so blessed,
then we have to refer to it differently, because there's guidelines that YouTube says, not this, guys.
You guys can talk about this, but not this.
Not that.
Unless
we just like switch to like Rumble, or one of the other, or both. And
I know is it Russell Brand?
And then and it's a question of like, do you want to censor yourself or not, like how Rogan currently has to, whereas like previously, as soon as they got rid of YouTube, they were just like, pull it up, let's see it. See the whole video, and we could watch the whole video, or you could watch it on Spotify, right?
Yeah.
But now that he's doing it again on YouTube, there's certain things that he can't. There's obviously media rights.
Yeah.
Intellectual property,
IP.
So there's certain things that he can and can't talk about for set amount of time.
Yeah.
And boxing and the jab being one of them. So like,
He's like a real jabber.
Yeah.
Jabber.
He's into horse stuff.
But see, that's the thing that boggles my mind about some of these conversations, is that you can say something that was later to be determined false or exaggerated or not true about boxers.
Right.
Or about the King's Crown.
Yeah.
Of 2019.
Yeah.
Right. You can find some things that you can say things that were parroted, by our journalistic betters over and over again, that were later to be determined, misleading or not true. Like the issues of, I'm going to call them face guards.
Okay.
You can say those things, but that doesn't get fact checked. But if you point out that maybe some of the information that was given or levied upon, or stated, if you point out that it was false, that gets fact checked. It just seems very backwards to me.
You didn't watch the podcast that I sent to you, did you?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
Did that one get demonetized?
Probably. I don't know. I'm not on the inside to be able to know.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to check it out.
That's a rabbit hole of a rabbit hole of a rabbit hole. And a lot of your questioning on the authoritarian kind of policies could be laid to rest.
Well, how about that? We'll just I'll watch that one. Once I finish watching it, maybe we'll talk about it on the later show.
Yeah, I think we should.
I think that'll be that'll be a good topic of conversation.
That's the fair thing to do for the amount of knowledge and bombs and preconceived notions and ideas and conspiracy theories that lots of people have.
I will say this about conspiracy theories, though. I think conspiracy theories are interesting, but sometimes the messenger, maybe don't shoot the messenger type thing, but in some cases I think I'm going to shoot the messenger. Something's interesting that a conspiracy theorist can make a prediction or say something right 1 out of every 100 times, but because they were right and be wrong, factually wrong 99 out of the 100 times, but because that they were right that one time, now it puts into question the rest of it, of what they're saying.
Yeah.
And so, I tend to be cautious when some conspiracies, come on, or come onto my radar, and kind of have to parse through them and think about them legitimately before I really really accept, like, hey, this might be something going on. But it's damn interesting, though. It's always interesting to hear something that is out of pocket and that, where the real power lies kind of thing. I think, at least for entertainment purposes, it's always been fun.
Well, I'd love to see what you have to say after watching that episode.
I think our conversation about that would be a whole episode, probably.
Yeah. No. For sure.
But
and I think it would kind of help steer where I think we're going next.
yeah.
It just opens up the avenue of just like different topics to actually study and understand.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. It really gives us some imagination.
Oh boy, we're going there. All right, we're going there. Go for it. Shoot it. Shoot at the Imagineers.
No. I won't say the Imagineers. No, I agree with you though. I think once I get a chance to fully watch the video, I think there'd be a lot to extract from it and converse about. I'm sure there's going to be things that we don't agree on, or we disagree on between each other. So it'd be interesting conversation to have for sure.
I doubt it.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Or maybe we'll play a little bit of devil's advocate. I think that'd be fun.
I think your mind will just get blown.
And in that video, does he bring the receipts? That phrase is in our kind of cultural lexicon.
Bring the receipts?
Bring the receipts.
So like audit proof. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I'm not questioning it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm looking for it. I saw that you sent it to me and I clicked on it, but I just didn't get a chance to fully sit down and take it all in. That's one of those I have to listen.
We'll link
to
it in this video.
Link in the description below. So if you guys are interested in that conversation that we're gonna have,
what the fuck are they talking about?
We're gonna post that link in the video description. That way, you too can watch the great video and join in on the conversation for the next time that we converse about that topic.
And I think that's a reasonable segment that we can talk about controversial videos that I think could have a lasting effect in in the next coming years.
Do you think that video really? I mean, is that video? Do you
I'm not dicking around.
Okay.
Like I'm not treading lightly here. Like I've jumped into this pool.
Yeah.
Deeply, and I'm saying, bro, take a life jacket with you while you go in because this is some cold water.
Interesting.
And not too many people are putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
In such a succinct way where it's like, okay, that makes sense. All right. Not only am I understanding you, but like from an actual intellectual's perspective, like, got you.
Okay then.
Answers. You just answered 80% of the questions that I might have.
Interesting. Okay, well, that was a good preview.
Yeah, I know, 100%.
That was a damn good preview. I'm interested, and I think it's going to make for some good conversation. But segueing a little bit, one thing you and I talked about quite a bit was offline was a book club.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. What do you imagine that looking like?
I think reasonably putting up, I mean, we're both busy, so putting up, let's say kind of like a reading list of books that we think could be beneficial to, a younger audience, people who are a little bit younger than us.
Yeah.
Because we're in our 30s.
Yeah.
So kind of looking at people who are in their 20s.
Yeah.
And kind of just like looking back, what are some books that have helped shape how we look at the world currently versus how we used to look at it previously.
Yeah.
Given the fact that both of us, we've already established this, that we both went through the Cal State college education system,
Mm-hmm.
for good or for bad. But
For better or for worse.
we agreed that we were going to give our minds to this system, see what happens. Now, I think we are both intellectually curious enough that we're able to look at issues, topics, books, ideas, history, and the like, and then come up with our own beliefs,
Yeah.
conclusions, and, you know. But I think reading is probably the greatest, like, superpower that you can take, which is the knowledge of somebody else, all of the work that goes into putting it together, and then coming up with something that could be readable, enjoyable, and you can appreciate it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you were to ask the writer, they would tell you they would like for it to be discussed. And so if we can find a handful of books that we think could potentially kind of like sustain the test of time, potentially something that we've always wanted to read that we haven't read.
Yeah.
So like it could be having categories.
Yeah.
Right? All of this is just like I'm talking out of my ass. But
your ass is really talking good.
So like we can have categories for this youth. We can have categories for history, categories for like the humanities, philosophy, and just kind of put a reading catalog of books, have them available, have a PDF so that you can have access to it, and just kind of let's talk about it. Maybe once a week we talk about one book.
Yeah.
All in agreement. Let's say, all right, we'll knock this one out, this one out, this one out. Kind of leave the crumbs to be in advance. Currently, we're only getting like 30, 40 people. So
hey, you know what? And I said it in the last video. The 30 or 40 people watching us right now, you guys are fucking awesome. Thank you.
I'm saying there's 30, 40 people now, but I have no problem opening up the cabin to doing like a meet and greet. See who's actually out there, who wants to get together. Maybe have like a barbecue, smoke some cigars, drink some whiskey, camp out, hang out a little bit.
Yeah.
And talk about a couple of these books.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, man. I can see this sort of short-term and long-term growth in something like that.
Right.
I think in the short term, we can really kind of start a list of books that we think are important, that I think, like I said, books that we've read and
or want to read
a lot of value, and books that we want to read.
Sure.
Those, I think that's a
and they're probably
great
gonna
idea.
Some of them be complete fucking duds, but
yeah, but potentially. But I mean, the thing about reading, I feel you get into the habit of doing something, and you. I had a professor in college that I actually really appreciated, and he said, "Hey, Brian, so when you're reading, I want you to write down particular quotes that really stuck out to you. It doesn't have to have any like purpose for your papers. Doesn't have to. If it just stuck out to you and you had some meaning, some special connection to whatever that was said." He said, "Just write it down." And so, I mean, I did that pretty consistently for a while in college, but the fun part about that is what he said would happen would be that you start to see all these connections between everything that you read, and without really thinking about it, you'll be able to, kind of lean back on those previous quotes and experiences and connect it to something new that you're reading, and it kind of enriches the whole experience. And it's true, like there was some quotes I can't think of off the top of my head, but that I had written down, when reading something totally different, like, oh, this contextually is very similar.
Right.
And this is something that, has some pretty good meaning. So, I mean, I think the benefit of doing a book club like that and just kind of working through it doesn't really matter if it's the most prolific thing said or the most insightful thing said. Just the mere fact that we're exposing ourselves to that new information.
What are the books that you don't want to read?
The books that I don't want to read? That's a good question. Yeah, I never wanted to read a Robin DiAngelo book. I never want. I've read excerpts in college of her, but I've never read her book, and I never really had any desire to read her book. But maybe we'll fucking read it. It's a big seller. White Fragility.
What's a book that you do want to read?
Book that I do want to read. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. We were talking about it at the start of the show from the Art of Manliness podcast, about imagination. I really want to read that book. I think some of the authors, some of the ideas, and his name escapes me right now, but some of the ideas that he posited in the book really, really resonated with me and really resonated with our previous conversation. And I think that's why I connected to what he was saying so strongly is the fact that, these are ideas and topics that we've been touching on for the past few weeks. I think you have it up, right? The imagination muscle, where good ideas come from. Yep, that's the one right there. Yeah, the imagination muscle, where good ideas come from, and how to have more of them, by Albert Reed. His last name is spelled R-E-A-D. British guy. I wonder if that's how he actually did. He change his last name to Reed, or is his last name actually R-E-E-D, but he changed it to R-E-A-D? That'd be interesting. But yeah, that's definitely something I would want to read. We're looking him up right now. He's an executive. Let's see, we're looking up his book. For those of you right now who are not privy to what we're doing, we're actually looking up his Wikipedia page. It says Albert Reed is a former managing director of Condé Nast Britain, overseeing titles and businesses including British Vogue, GQ, Vanity Fair, GQ Style, Glamour, Wired UK, Love, House and Garden, and World of Warcraft.
No, World of Interiors.
Okay, World of Interiors. And Condé Nast Johansson's. The fact that he's an executive, that's a little rough for these mainstream media publications, the MSMs.
Why is it rough?
No, I'm just saying. It's actually not rough. I don't really
Former
care.
managing director.
Yeah, he doesn't do that shit anymore. But no, his so I was listening to his conversation on Art of Manliness podcast, and that's one of the things I thought about coming to the podcast. Okay, well, hold on. We're looking up some Albert Reed stuff. You said why he got fired. We're looking up some information on this guy, trying to get dirt. We're coming for you, Albert. We're coming for you. We're coming for you, Prince Albert. Oh, wrong guy. Wait, Prince Albert's one of them, right? We're changing. Why did Albert Reed leave Condé Nast? We're not getting a lot of good information right now.
I just find it odd. Managing director, Condé Nast.
Have you heard of Condé Nast prior to this? I didn't know that was the conglomerate behind all those publications.
It's
Is the conglomerate.
yeah. It's the motherfucker.
He was a man. He was a fucking head honcho.
And so why would he leave? And his book is all about imagination, right?
Yeah.
And
Are you putting your tinfoil hat on right now?
No, I'm just doing research, bro. This is it. Just doing research.
Okay, no, I'm just messing. Yeah, he's head of Vogue. Well, he was a managing director of Vogue, Condé Nast. I'd never even heard of that. I was a picture of Princess Diana. What's going on? Is that the first mention? So we use the find feature to see any names of Albert Reed. Really not a whole lot of information. I'm curious. So what's your connection then that shortly after he leaves his role at Condé Nast that now he's writing about the imagination? What's the connection there, do you think?
I have no idea. I'm just...
Well, what are you postulating?
Nothing, dude. I'm just looking at why did he leave? Like, there's usually like a clear reasoning for somebody leaving, right? You got a better job.
Yeah.
You got a bigger opportunity.
Yeah.
You've just completed working 30 years at a place.
Yeah.
Like, there's...
different reasons.
Where's my gold watch?
Yeah.
Okay. You just...
There's nothing.
Pick up camp and dip. And now you write a new book saying there is no original thought.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book.
Well, and that was one of the things he was saying. And one of the things he was saying specifically is when you look at just the media landscape, Hollywood is full of sequels and rehashes, that there's a huge lack of imagination in filmmaking and art, and that people aren't taking nearly as much creative risk and imaginative risk that they otherwise had in the past.
Is that like a fear of being canceled? Is that a fear of like a lack of creativity? Because I really don't think that that's the case.
I don't know if it's a fear of lack of creativity or being canceled. I don't think the individuals who work at those particular companies are probably very, very creative individuals, right? But maybe just the corporate structure in and of itself for, like, let's say Disney has, thwarted creative growth.
Okay.
Because, I mean, think about it. If Disney has, Disney had a huge, and Marvel had a huge success building the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, and, it grew rapidly. I mean, they were making billions of dollars on these films, and they were investing a shitload of money back into the films, but they were getting their return on investment. I mean, some of these movies were breaking... I mean, I think it was Avengers Endgame broke the all-time record at the box office with $2.7 billion. Or I could be wrong, but I know it's either the 1, 2, or 3 right now, Avengers Endgame. But that was like right there. That was sort of the peak of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then after that, basically, with the exception of just a couple of their brands, it died out. Why? I mean, a lot of people look at fatigue, Marvel MCU fatigue as being a thing, but I think maybe the individual creators haven't lost their imagination.
Yeah.
But their movies are so formulaic, and they had been so profitable that they just continue to run that formula, even if it's already outlived its, its growth, and outlived itself. That's my guess, anyways. gonna get a light after this too. I still got some juice left in mine.
I'm just. I mean, you hear it that Hollywood isn't taking those risks,
Yeah.
but I think it's a risk of like fear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we kind of got a glimpse into how backwards thinking Hollywood can be when we saw Will Smith take a big slap at Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple minutes later win the award, you know? And everybody didn't even bat an eye. There were no police. Nothing happened.
Actually, I heard the police actually went up to Chris Rock and asked him if
You want to press charges.
yeah.
I'm sure that's after the fact, right?
No, I mean I think it was during the show.
Well, as soon as he's off the stage, right?
Yeah. I mean, imagine a police officer seeing that in real time. Like, that'd have been. I wouldn't. If I were a police officer, I would look at that. I'd be like, oh my God, what the hell am I gonna do? Do you even get involved? Probably not.
Can you fucking say anything? I don't know, man.
That's a crazy one, dude. I mean, I think individual creators, maybe they still have that creative muscle.
Yeah, like, and they have YouTube.
There is a lot of creative people on YouTube, independent people. But something that guy said,
like, what were his points? If you can, try to reiterate some of this.
Try to reiterate some of his points. Is that the problem is there is a lack of imagination, and he tried to distill what those reasons were, and some of it was, like you said, fear of failure. There is a fear of failure. So when you risk take, do you have that feeling that you're not going to make it. So therefore, what's the point of even taking the risk? So I think he thinks it's some of that. I think he talked about a little bit, just, companies are culturally are scared to take risks because they have their formulas that have historically worked and now they don't. Right. So
why do you think they don't work though?
Why the formulas don't work?
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are tired of some of the same tropes that have been happening or have been used in Hollywood movies. So when some of those tropes, for example, I think are just poorly written characters, right? I think you got to give credit to the audience. I don't think the audience is dumb. I think the audience is pretty smart. And a lot of times these movies, specifically movies, they don't appreciate the audience. They have to explain everything, or if something will be missed, right? Or at least that's their thinking. So I think they give the audience credit, or at least the opportunity to see through, or see and experience the movie in different levels, intellectual levels. They don't give the audience that credit. I think too, there's been this push towards kind of forced diversity and forced, feminism, I guess you could say. And not that diversity in and of itself is a bad thing, but I think when you create a woman character and you put her in there just for the sake of being a woman, and there's no complexity to that character, then you have an innately boring character that no one resonates with. So a lot of the reasons, I think anyways, they do that for purposes of representation, but they end up abandoning their core audience for the cult of representation. I mean, that's my thinking, anyways. And like Star Wars, for example, I think Star Wars community, like fandom, they get a lot of hate because they don't respond to, whatever Lucasfilm, whatever Star Wars and Disney are, putting on a pedestal as the female character of the month, right? They just don't, right? So, you have like the acolyte. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole series. The episodes I did see weren't terrible or anything like that, but some of them just didn't make sense in the context of Star Wars, right? Rey in Star Wars and the sequel trilogy is powerful almost by virtue of just being a woman, right? But that's not the hate of women, I don't think. To me, like I remember in 2015 when The Force Awakens came out. I really liked The Force Awakens. I thought it was a great movie. In my mind, I thought it was a great reintroduction of Star Wars because it has elements of the past and it has some new questions that are interesting that were never followed through, by the way. So, but you have this character, and my buddy at the time, he said, you know what, I enjoyed it, but like Rey was just like God mode, and they made everything easy for her. Like there was no development. I don't know if he'd have that same opinion today, to be fair. Right? I don't think he'd have that same opinion today. No, I mean, I think he would probably say to himself, oh, that was the wrong opinion. I shouldn't have had that opinion. I think that's what his perspective would be today.
Is that because of the DEI?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. So
are you suggesting that DEI is like, it's definitely a theory. Right?
Yeah.
It's a theory of diversity, equality,
equity, not equality.
Sorry, equity and inclusion.
Yeah.
And it's late.
It is late.
So this is a greater virus, woke mind virus,
quote unquote,
woke mind virus. Or is it just like, as we give rights, right, to, we give rights to slaves, freedom, and then eventually we gave them to women. So is this now the next
progression
around the lazy Susan? Oh, this is bad. All right, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
is that just like how
it progresses?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so, because obviously
it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it, right?
Okay.
Because I think when you look at obviously the fight to free the slaves was a moral good, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying as it progresses.
I know. I'm getting really itchy and touchy on these subjects.
Oh, okay. No. But no, and I'm saying this intentionally. So I think
but it's our country's history.
No, 100%. I think it was a moral good, and it was not just a moral good, it was morally necessary to free the slaves. It was morally necessary that women had the right to vote and had equal franchisement. There was some things in our country that, weren't right. What I will say about this country, though, is that a lot of people shit on the founding fathers and how our country was founded. And whatever, I mean, you're applying a modern lens to an 18th century problem, right? That's how they understood the world. I think people knew slavery was bad, for example, then, but I don't think they understood it the same way as we do now. That's obvious to me. But the founding documents, for example, I think are really important, and the fact that they laid the foundation of how we can, meet and pursue our ideals, right? Those documents are like what we strive to have and strive to be, and the mere fact that we continue to push towards that level, and it's like you're aiming for a home run, right? But you'll take a double. You know what I mean? You'll take a great hit. You're keeping on and pushing, and I think the documents that our founding fathers had laid out in our country, they give us ideals and a path forward that I think is morally and objectively good. Now, as we progress, though, like, I think your question is the DEI, is that part of that progression? I don't think so. Because I think the whole diversity, equity, inclusion thing, in its face, it's good, right? I think we should always strive to be respectful of our neighbors. We should always strive to have like a deep understanding of our history and all those things, and we should be kind. Let's not be assholes, right?
Right.
But that's not what this thing is saying. I think DEI is trying to rewrite and rescript how business is done, how we see each other. I think DEI and critical theory wants us to see everybody in the context of power, in the context of race. Everything needs to be striated, and I think that goes away from our ideals, right? We're not trying to fulfill the promises of the Constitution or Declaration of Independence. I think we're trying to look at the world. At least DEI is trying to look at the world through these separate lenses, and to me, that's a problem. Let's see, we're looking up some stuff here. Pictures from the 1840s are great.
Sorry for the delay, but I'm looking up what states can women not own property in the United States.
And what did you find?
It's complicated. But basically it's like from the 1830s, 1840s is when states are the ones that start enacting themselves to say yay or nay. It's not a federal thing.
Yeah.
It's not like the whole country said, you know what? Women can own property.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the beauty of the country, though, I think. That each individual state has a degree of autonomy that they can move the needle in their... Because here goes the thing. Everything is best run locally, right? Your local elections are probably more consequential to your regular everyday life than any federal election.
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you really move the needle for change? Like you start at the local level, and the state, obviously a state like California, 40 million people. It's always been a populous state for many decades.
It takes a village, Brian.
It takes a damn village.
It was a book by Hillary, I believe.
But I think too, that was the trajectory it was going to go in, anyways. According to what we're reading here, it looks like It Takes a Village by Hillary Rodham Clinton. I'll tell you what, this is probably going to be totally fact-check and shadow banned. This whole fucking episode. Fuck. Yeah, like I said, man, I think we should all respect each other. I think racism is wrong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around that. But I think the actual I think DEI is transforming itself into an institution where now force, power, and true marginalization, where it's spreading people into groups.
Let's
is the problem.
Let's run into the rabbit hole, shall we?
Let's do it.
Because this time we actually have the computer up, because last episode I was saying some wild stuff, and then as I was editing, I wanted to fact check, and I was looking it up, and you can look it up yourselves and figure out whether or not I was talking out of my ass or not. But like, apparently my ass isn't that far away. So, for whom the bell tolls.
Doom, doom, doom.
Let's figure out live.
Live and in person.
When did DEI start?
It's probably, my guess is older than we think.
So what's your guess? Like, what do you think? Like, if you were to throw a number at it.
Probably 60s or 70s.
I mean, we just saw it. It's like, really? It's like the 1830s, 1840s.
Okay, I mean, but
all right,
again,
fine.
I don't
want to
think,
go that far. You don't want to go that far.
I don't think that's
Okay.
DEI in the sense of that. I think that was a natural progression. I don't think DEI is part of that progression. Let's see.
And just to be very transparent, we're only using Wikipedia. Just
Very transparent.
Just for shits and giggles, just to see what it says.
There's a picture in here that says EDI, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. We're using Wikipedia's reference page, and we're going on to the references to see their sources.
So, I mean, the first source is from McKinsey & Co.
McKinsey & Co. Just go up. Just go up. There's a tab I want to see. I don't know. You can go down now. There's a subsection. History in the United States. That's what we're trying to get to the bottom to. I was right. Affirmative action. Executive Order 10-925.
Signed in by JFK, March 6, 1961.
Yeah.
Required government contractors, except in special circumstances, to take affirmative action to ensure applicants are employed, that their employees are treated during employment without regard to their race, creed, color, or national origin. So LBJ also signed it in.
Mm-hmm.
Called the President's Committee on Equal Employment Opportunity.
Yeah.
Secretary of Labor, Arthur Goldberg. So this is 60s.
Yeah. But see, even in the context of the 1960s, I don't think affirmative action was kind of a response to what the 60s were. I mean, you're coming out of by 1964 and 65, you have the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, right? You look at the context of Jim Crow and the segregated South, like obviously something like affirmative action is kind of fits in with that time period as I think probably necessary. But the question was, did we outgrow that? That's the question. We're getting into more stuff here. Arthur Goldberg.
I'm just looking because I think a lot is underneath Goldberg as the Department of Labor. I mean, labor is that's the whole fucking thing.
Does it say, can we have pinpoint when DEI itself was used and coined?
So, I mean, Mm, 78. UC Berkeley versus Bake.
Oh, yeah. Baki.
Baki.
Yeah, it was a big one.
And then again, Reagan, when he was threatening to dismantle equity and affirmative action laws in the 80s. Then it just jumps from the 80s to 2003.
It's probably relatively untouched.
Where it says corporations spent $8 billion annually on diversity.
By 2003.
And then Obama in 2011 signed Executive Order 135883. Or no, 13583. Sorry, my vision's going. Concerning diversity and inclusion. And then Trump in 2016, during the Me Too and Black Lives Matter movements, stated that DEI had exploded in size.
I said Time magazine said that after the election of Donald Trump.
Right. So,
but see, and that's exactly what I'm saying, though. I think when we're talking about what's morally right and good, I think
17.2 billion spent on DEI estimated by 2027.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money to look for people to say they're diverse, we're equitable, we're not equitable.
No,
I'm kidding, a bad joke.
I think
equality
in the progression of history, we've generally marched toward progress in a positive way. But this DEI thing is not, just an idea. It's just as it's saying, it's an industry. Companies spend, obviously by 2027 rather.
Well, it's saying 7.5 in 2020.
So 7.5 billion was spent in DEI initiatives in 2020, and it's projecting 17.2 billion by 2027. This is not a small industry by any metric. Let's see.
Right. So Newsom in April said that he was going to put $24 billion to go towards homelessness.
Yeah.
So homelessness at $24 billion and DEI projected 2027.
Yeah.
Right?
17 billion.
17 billion.
Yeah.
So homelessness is far more important than making sure that anybody who's not represented gets a job. I mean, that's what the numbers are telling me. Sorry if I'm being cynical, but
no, I mean,
and if the numbers are wrong,
it's
well,
different
then
though, because
that couple billion.
That 17.7 billion is what corporations are spending.
That's just corporations, and we're looking at this number in the state of one state, which is the state of California. Which, yes, it's one of the largest states. It's the biggest state.
People.
Oh, I was waiting for Trump.
The biggest state, the best state,
the greatest state,
the greatest state. So I'm told, or the worst state. Depends who you ask.
They're spending
24 billion.
Yeah, on homelessness. And DEI as a whole thing, as a nation, we're spending potentially under 20. What's wrong with that picture?
Tell me.
No. I'm just asking. We're just looking at the numbers, dude. We're not.
But the thing is, some of those numbers are going to be crossing each other, right? They're going to be crossing path. I think in
You think so?
I think so for sure.
Okay.
For sure, because you're having some of that money that's going to go towards those billions of dollars are going to go to non-governmental organizations, or they're going to go to some groups who are, their stated mission is to help with the homelessness crisis, right? That money's going to go there.
So you're saying,
but what are they going to spend some of that money on?
I love this, Brian.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
and safe needles for
and
you.
safe needles. I mean, you know what I mean? That's the problem. I think,
I like fact checking. This is fun.
We're
just takes a little longer.
Throwing a lot of money at the homelessness issue. But I guarantee we're going to spend $24 billion and we're not going to see the situation get better. We're going to see it probably get worse.
But tinfoil hot time.
Okay.
Would be the Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, look how fat when Xi Jinping came in San Francisco, the streets cleaned up pretty quick.
Real fast.
I mean, that's just it could be fixed. Probably for a lot cheaper than people realize.
100%.
Yeah.
Just like, I think these are just, you know, some boys just making jokes. But like, do you want to fix the border crisis? Who? This was John Daly. You know John Daly, right? The golfer.
Yeah.
John Daly, Kid Rock, Tucker Carlson.
I didn't see the episode.
Those are good old boys just talking shit and drinking beer. And he's like, you know how you could fix the fucking border crisis? He's like, it doesn't cost you hundreds of millions of dollars. It'll cost you $10 million tops. He's like, just go to Africa, pick up some crocodiles, and then just drop them in the Rio Grande. Get them all the way from California all the way to Texas. Problem fucking solved.
Jeez.
The conservationists will love it.
That's funny.
And that's effective government and small government. You know.
Now you're talking about maximizing your dollars.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, with the problem with the homelessness stuff, though, is these. My question would be: is out of the $24 billion that's going to be spent, how much is that going to go to administrative costs? Probably. I mean, I don't know the.
Here's
number.
the real question, bro, that nobody wants to ask. How much of that money is actually going to prop up the actual drug industry that these people are fucking hooked on?
That's a good question.
I think that's the question.
Yeah.
Because if the problem is that they're hooked on drugs and they can't get housing because they're on drugs, and the housing says you're on drugs, you can't fucking get housing, or you have a dog and you can't get in because you have a dog and you're not willing to let go of the dog.
Yeah.
So they'll just choose to live out on the street, take whatever handouts they need. Thank you. I'll go do whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
For the next night. Thanks.
Yeah. It's a good one.
And the money train that gets invested in illicit and illegal drugs in this country is immense. And that the shit is like laced with fentanyl, and the shit we don't know what it is. And kids these days want to take coke and they have to make sure that there isn't fentanyl
in the coke.
Like it's a weird, wild problem. It's not the 80s where it's just like, this shit's pure Colombian, bro. Like coffee.
Yeah.
Even the coffee's fucked up.
Yeah.
So how much of that money is actually going back to propping that back up?
I don't know.
And I guarantee you I am not searching that one.
This video is already shadow banned before it's even uploaded. I mean, that's a good question, but I think the also important question, kind of going back to what I was saying, is the administrative costs. If you have all these bloated salaries going to high administrative costs, you know, you have some of these non-governmental organizations who are paying for, you know, useless admin. How much of it is actually going directly to the people that need help? I don't know. I don't think we should invest more than we already do into the problem until we know how much is actually going to the direct need of the people involved. But then also, how do you define direct need? Is giving someone clean needles, is that supplying a direct need and assistance to someone who's experiencing homelessness and drug addiction? Oh, this is interesting fact sheet. You want to say this?
Go for it.
No, please. John, I'm going to ask you, how much have we spent on illegal drugs this year?
The running total, and it's still running, is close to 306 trillion.
No, it's 306 billion.
Billion?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's still moving.
Yeah.
It's a
Looking
moving
at
target.
More than a quarter of $1 trillion on drugs. Holy fuck. I didn't know that number was that high.
Interesting adverts on the bottom.
Yeah. Freeinquiries.com. Oh, man. This conversation went in a lot of different ways, more so than I could have imagined.
Okay, so 2025 U.S. White House budget estimates $21.8 billion for overdose protection. That's just overdoses.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. 4.1 for the Bureau of Prisons billion in support of the implementing the First Step Act. Would you like to say this number, Brian?
In the millions. Oh, wow. So for the total of DHS.
No, that's just
the total. Office Community Planning and Development.
I think you have to go through them line by line, sir.
Yeah, I think so. But you scrolled all the way to the bottom. There we go. Oh, there we go. Total federal drug budget
for 2025, given to us by the White House.
Yeah, 44,196.8 millions. So is that $440 billion?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Towards this problem.
Towards drugs.
$440 billion.
And in there's the VA, the Department of Treasury, the Department of Transportation, the Department of State, the Office of National Drug Council Policy, the Department of Labor, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Interior. All of those different departments have their own budget.
Yeah.
To fight this problem.
Yeah.
And this is just drugs. This is not homelessness.
Yeah. Damn.
Isn't that fun?
So fun.
Economics.
So fun. Such a
So,
great time.
I mean,
it's a lot of money for drugs.
it's a lot of money for that.
I mean, but some of that money's not going obviously directly to drug manufacturers, right? It's going to the enforcement mechanisms that exist.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing. That's the whole machine, right?
Yeah.
Per year.
Yeah. It's a lot of fucking money.
A lot of money.
Wait, go back down? That was for fiscal year 23. No, you had it. Go back. What are you doing? Same. The last one there. Almost. Okay. Okay, for 23, they had a little bit more than 24. And then the request for 25 is a little higher than the 23 numbers.
Just a hair.
Just a hair.
Couple bill.
From 440 billion and 196 million to 440 billion and 492 million. So a good amount of cash. Could use that in my bank account. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot of fucking money. Who's winning? That's the real question.
China.
Interesting. Global film industry's annual revenue stood at 77 billion as of 2022. I thought it was more. I was in 2022 though. Oh wow. I wonder how much the total. I wonder how much total was invested into the projects. We're looking. All right, so expenditures. Universal.
Thank you, Reddit.
Universal spent 1.8 billion, and their whole total revenue, worldwide revenue, was 2.69 billion. So they had a profit of $843 million. Pretty good. Disney spent $3 billion on projects. Total worldwide revenue, $2.5 billion for a $457 million loss. Both Warner Brothers and Paramount had a $190 million loss and $546 million loss, respectively. These are the 2023 numbers. Holy shit.
So Universal, Disney, Warner, Paramount.
Yeah, the big dogs.
Those are the big dogs?
The big players.
Those are the big players.
I think they're the ones who are expending the most. Disney, obviously by a wide margin. I mean, you look at the numbers. Disney spent $3 billion. They invested the most.
Note, I elected not to include Sony's numbers since I can't make heads or tails of their numbers.
That's funny.
Thank you.
Appreciate that note. That comes from what Redditor? Who's the OP? It's the second what?
Thelonious the Hawker. I mean, that's kind of interesting, no?
Yeah.
What does that say to you, Brian? What are those numbers? Read the tail of the tape for me.
The Universal is doing pretty fucking good.
Is that what it is?
Well, I think Universal, their movies, I don't think they really try to push an agenda so much, right? Okay. I mean, you have the Fast movies, Fast and Furious movies are just fucking fun, you know what I mean? And they draw a lot of eyes. So, Universal's doing good. And they've always been a great studio, too, a historic studio. And I think Disney's huge investment hasn't really given much of a return because they are so engrossed in and just trying to please everyone that they're not pleasing anyone. I think that's what's going on there. And it's not that all those movies are coming out are bad. They have some good ones. But I think just need to focus on good storytelling. I think that's just what it boils down to. Good storytelling, good characters. I think you're going to have a profitable movie.
I think it's more than that, but I'm just curious to see what actually happened of the Weinstein Company.
Is it still around?
No, it went into bankruptcy and then purchased by Lantern
Capital.
Yeah. Lantern Entertainment. 2018.
So all of the Weinstein Company is now part of Lantern Capital.
Correct.
Or Lantern Entertainment.
Correct.
Makes sense. They have the whole catalog. I think Weinstein, they had a pretty good library of movies. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But they're not like they're a big player. Obviously, Weinstein's a big player, was a big player in the movie game. But I don't think they were making billion-dollar movies. Let's see. Hey, what's on their film library?
Well, I know for a fact one of the big ones that was important is Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
He's got like 3 or 4 films with him. So we've got movies going from November 11th, 2005.
See, they're not a huge studio. I mean, they were only releasing. I don't think they don't have that many movies compared to like a Disney or something. Oh, Amityville Awakening was their last movie, co-distributed with Dimension Films. I remember that. I saw it in the theater. It Follows? Oh, I didn't realize it was a Weinstein movie. That was probably one of the greatest horror movies.
You're the movie buff, so you can go through this list and actually have something to say. Use your two. Nope.
Oh, shit. I don't know how to use these Apple computers. 2. All right.
Don't drag it. Just be gentle.
All right, gotta be gentle here.
So that means Scary Movie 4, Tom Yum Gong, Shut Up and Sing. Damn, this is a Weinstein movie.
I didn't know Weinstein was your favorite.
Alone with Her.
Oh, interesting.
The X.
Sicko was Michael Moore's his documentary on the Big Pharma. And so it's just kind of funny that he worked with, his movie was distributed by Weinstein. Let's see what else. Halloween. Oh, The Mist. That is also a really good horror film. It was a Stephen King novel originally.
Rambo. 3 Pigs and a Baby. The Hammer.
Where in the world is Osama bin Laden? Can't say saw that one.
Hellride.
Hellride, yeah. Oh, they have a Woody Allen movie, Vicky Cristina Barcelona. That was a good one. Zack and Mary Make a Porno. That was a funny one.
Igor. The Goldilocks and the 3 Bears.
Oh, and Glorious Bastards, there it is.
Right. A Single Man. The Road.
Yeah, they did have quite a catalog.
Piranha 3D. The Fighter. The King's Speech. Blue Valentine. The Company Men. Scream 4. There's quite a few, dude.
Yeah.
Apollo 18.
Spy Kids. I
Spy
think you have a
Kids.
connection to Spy Kids, right?
We do. Yeah.
I think he still lives in Torrance, right?
I don't know. Reel 2. Will Smith.
Hey, he really slapped the roll of that one.
Silver Linings Playbook. Killing Them Softly. Django Unchained. Scary Movie 5.
Oh shit! I didn't realize they made a Scary Movie 5.
There's a lot of movies, dude. Shut the fuck up. This is a small
I'm not
operation.
saying it's small operation, but
This was a tiny little operation that we had in the back over here doing Macbeth and the Hateful Eight.
I mean, look,
Jane got a gun.
They're not producing. I mean, they're also distributing some of these movies. They're not their productions. They're, again, not saying they were small or they were, but comparable to like a Universal, right? They're in that second tier of how busy those studios are. And they had a lot. They took on movies like a lot of art house movies and a lot of Oscar bait movies. I think Silver Linings Playbook was, released around Oscar season, and I think it got nominated, or I think it won Best Picture. Bradley Cooper. No, I mean, again, kind of like all things aside, I don't think creativity or imagination is dead. I just think that the structure that surrounds and cases the creativity of their staff, that model is not very good, because I think they're putting way too much control onto the product and not allowing their creators to really just do a good job. I think that's the biggest issue. But one of the prescriptions that he talked about, kind of sort of circling back
to Mr. Reed. Go ahead, Albert.
Circling back a little bit, is some of the things that we can do to ultimately work that imagination muscle. How do you overcome the fear of failure in anything? I think you overcome the fear of failure by, number one, telling yourself that you can't do it, right? If you tell yourself you can't do something, that's something we've talked about, then you're not going to do it. But he said something interesting to me is that when you do something, if you do take up a creative work, art, movie, writing, filmmaking, whatever the case may be, you don't do it with the whole intention and goal in mind is to be rich and famous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That is not the goal. The goal is to create. He was talking about poets. Like a great poet wrote more bad poems than a bad poet. And the masters are so good at what they do is because they continue to fail. I'm assuming, right, that some of these guys in the film industry, especially today, the writers, like, they made duds, right? They didn't always get the highest paying roles, right? It's a labor of love, and it's a labor of passion. So if you strip the monetary, like, hey, I'm only trying to do this to get famous, I think having that mindset is the wrong mindset to have. And that's something the guy Reed talked about. A lot of it is your mindset.
Mr. Condé Nast.
Yeah, dude. That's going to be, I got to read that book. I'm going to check it out. And
That's something you do want to read then?
I wouldn't mind reading that.
What's something else that you definitely want to read then?
Well, I picked up, I think I told you last week, I picked up Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. I haven't had the chance, and I think some of it, to be honest, just laziness, to really sit down and read that. So I want to read that. I want to read Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil. I've read through most of one of his books, and thus spoke Zarathustra. Um, that was a good one, but I mean, that was the first Nietzsche book I think I mostly read. I didn't finish it all. Um, but yeah, Dostoevsky, man, I'd love to finish through Crime and Punishment. The few pages, I think I read the first 10 pages. uh, I'm just taken aback how just good the writing is, and how good the storytelling is, and world building, and it's very interesting. There's the amount of and the level of description that goes into just the first 10 pages is very interesting. But yeah, I mean, those are stuff I want to read. What about you?
I think the Book of Enoch.
The Book of Enoch was that like the Bible or something?
Yeah.
Where is that? Where do you even get that? I didn't even know the Vatican released it.
Yeah. Enoch is the son of one of the sons. I think he's the grandson
Yeah.
of Noah,
Okay.
and he has his own little book,
Hmm.
but it didn't make the cut into the Bible,
Didn't make the
the biblical cut.
Bible. This is the Bible extended edition.
Yeah. And only in Ethiopia do they have him like inside the Bible regularly, like
Oh,
he's included.
that's
So
interesting.
it's only the King James Bible that gets sliced and diced.
Mm.
So
And its derivatives.
yeah, and so like the Book of Enoch is one of them. Mary Magdalene had her own book. Jesus' mom had her own book.
Mary.
She had her, and actually, her grandmother, her mother, Mary's mother had a
Yeah.
book. I just find it interesting that that exists,
Yeah.
and it's not talked about. It's not considered. It's not read up. It's not used.
Yeah. It is curious. I've always wondered that. I mean, I think a lot of our understanding about what's said in the Bible, anyways, is probably colored by just how it was been taught to us. For the most part. Like I was reading something today, like Lucifer is actually only said once in the Bible.
Lucifer, the light bringer.
Exactly. Only said once in the Bible, and I can't remember. It's somewhere in the Old Testament that they use that name. So, like the connection that Lucifer is Satan is actually pretty. It's just sort of taking that its own interpretation of that, but nowhere explicitly in the Bible it says that Lucifer and Satan are the same person or same angel. So I mean, it just goes to show a lot of the. That's kind of the interesting part about the Bible as a written piece of work. There's so much a depth and complexity into what's being said. It's pretty interesting.
Excuse me. The other weird thought that I've been looking into is the royal family.
What about them?
Do you know where they're actually from, like originally?
German, if I'm not mistaken, right?
German.
Yeah.
And do you know the
Windsor
weird
family.
Do you know that? Do you know where that came out of? Like, why are they called the Windsor family?
I know I've read this, but I don't remember what exactly.
So it's like Victoria marries Philip. I think it's Philip.
Okay, I think you're right. Yeah.
And They have 9 kids.
Yeah. She really pushed him out.
She pushed them out.
Good on her.
And all of them end up having their own monarchy in different areas of Europe.
Yeah.
But they're all German. Especially, her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get rid of the connotation of him being German, they take up the castle that's been abandoned, which is the House of Windsor.
Yeah.
And they say,
in Scotland, right?
And they say, this is now your last name. You are no longer whoever the hell you were.
Yeah.
Representing, I believe it's 3 other areas in Germany. You are now from Windsor.
Yeah.
And so they're German. They're not British. They're German. And not that far away German.
Yeah. I think like a few hundred years.
And the really weird bit is with Edward the Seventh.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Edward the Seventh?
Nothing's coming to the top of my head.
He was really in cahoots with in bed with Hitler. That's the German connection.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And so he was helping Hitler when Hitler was exterminating the Jews.
Yeah.
Because that was part of the plan.
Interesting.
Because this guy was so gung-ho on being German.
Edward the Seventh is
one of the sons of these 9.
Okay. Of Queen Victoria.
Correct.
Gotcha. But he wasn't the monarch during World War II.
They didn't put him up because, again, he went with
the
Hitler.
Nazis. Gotcha. That's interesting. That I didn't know.
Yeah. And that motherfucker, just, their family's still around.
And we're still a Windsor family.
They're still in power.
Yeah.
They're maintaining monarch.
Yeah.
The monarchy is still in full-fledged there.
Yeah.
And they're not British. They're German. And we're so stupid that we don't even fucking realize.
Well, I mean, Queen Victoria, she wasn't German. I mean, not like full German. Cause I think you're right. Her husband was, right? Full German. But I mean, that's kind of, I mean, you look back throughout the monarch period of Europe. I mean, that's been going on for forever.
Yeah. And you get incest and you get weird kids and funny fingers and sausage fingers and all kinds of shit.
Hey, don't say anything about sausage fingers, man, because I got sausage fingers. I got fat fingers.
Not like...
Oh, you're talking real sausage fingers.
Royal
sausage fingers. Yeah, I got peasant sausage fingers.
Vienna sausage fingers.